Well, welcome back everybody, and thank you for joining me. We're going to go ahead and get started with the first scenario, one that's recommended, your first one to start out when playing Dungeons of Infinity. If you haven't already checked out the video that I did previous to this one is starting the campaign, or not the campaign, but the scenarios that they have. I did another video where we actually went through all the components and talked about some of the rules and setup and everything like that. So if you haven't checked that out, please go back and do that and get yourself familiar a little bit with the game. And I should have a link there in the description of the video, and you can head back there and check it out. And once you're done with that, you can come back here and actually play through the scenario Coin Quest. This, like I said, this is recommended as the first scenario to do because it's a little bit easier than the other ones, and the reason for that is they actually have you not draw any of the boss event cards. So we will not be drawing any of the boss events for when they take their actions, and some of the ability cards that instruct you to draw boss event cards. We'll be ignoring that. The second thing that it tells us to do is remove the cards from the Risk decks that have the C on them. And I've gone ahead and, well, I just had a nice little spider run across the table. Okay, so getting back on track, as I was saying, the other thing we have to do is we're removing from the Risk decks that we do, the treasure, the debris, the body, and the mist that we draw, we're moving through, is removing the ones that have the C marked on them right here. And what these are the catastrophic cards. And each deck, I think the treasure, the debris, and the body each had 3 cards, and then the mist only had 1 catastrophic card. So I think that what these are is going to be much harder things, or much more consequential things that happen to you in the regular game, so they want us to go ahead and remove that. So now that we've done that, we're pretty much set and ready to go. I've already chosen the 2 characters for this scenario. I went ahead and chose the warrior and the wizard here, just the regular wizard. I've put their level 2 and level 3 ability cards up here because I know I can't use those until I reach that level. Also the same with the wizard there. I've set their regular ability cards here that they're going to use, and I should go ahead and set their XP bar to 0, their health for the warrior 13, and level 1 right there. So for the wizard, again, level 1, XP bar is 0, and her health starts at 15. Alright, so we have these standees here, and they're going to be starting in the dungeon right there with the merchant. I've already drawn the one of the room content charts here. If you want to take a look at it real quick, this is the one we're going to be using for the remainder of the scenario. I'll just kind of keep that close by. I've already got all the decks up there pre-shuffled, the treasure, the debris, the body, and the mist, and their tokens are right there. We have the boss events over here. We're not going to be drawing from that at all, which means we're not going to be using any of the dungeon bosses. So these 2 things will not be used in this scenario. Then we have the elite enemies, which is also marked boss. We have our regular enemies, and then our reward deck, which is all pre-shuffled and ready to go. Over here we have the dungeon. We have a singular dungeon tile stack that we're going to be working from, and then our 2 reward. Not our reward, sorry, our store decks. And I need to go ahead and build those out for starting the mission, or starting the scenario, where we're going to actually be purchasing from the merchant. And remember, each of your starter, or each of your heroes starts out with 3 Farnsworth coins to go ahead and buy from the merchant. And like I said, we'll go ahead and draw our 6 regular general store items, and then our 4, I think it's weapons and armor items right there. So once we come back, I'll have those set out and ready to purchase. Okay, so got all the items ready to go, ready for purchase. The one thing I haven't done yet is I haven't declared who is going to be first player. So I'm going to go ahead and roll 2 d20s that I have. And remember, the lowest roll is going to be the one that goes first. The red die is going to be for the warrior, and the green die is going to be for our wizard. Okay, looks like a 2 for our warrior and 18 for our wizard. So that means the warrior is going to go first, which means he's going to have first pick to purchase from the merchant. So let me go ahead and find out what items I'm going to go with, and then we're going to have the wizard. I'll go ahead and purchase those items. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the wizard purchase the 3 items that he wants to, and any cards that we've taken out of the spot that the warrior purchased, we're going to go ahead and replace once it's the wizard's turn to purchase. We'll replace those cards at that time. So the 2 items that I'm going to go ahead and go with the warrior are the two-handed axe. This is a power 2. This is going to add to my power of 5 on the warrior, which is going to give me a power of 7, so that's going to be real nice. Then the shield of faith, it's going to decrease my hit chance when something is attacking me. This is a -1 on the hit chance when I'm being attacked. The axe cost 2 Farnsworth coins, and the shield cost 1. So that's all 3 of my coins. So we're going to go ahead and go with those, and I'll put those on my warrior. And then we need to refresh the 2 that are there. And then we can go ahead and have the archer purchase. Not the archer, why I keep saying that? The wizard. The wizard is going to purchase, okay? So I'd like to give the wizard some nice... I could give her some nice defense with a thick robe that costs 2. That might be a good one because she right now has a defense of 3, so a defense of 5 might be nice. And since she does not have the ability to open up treasure, man, I watched my other video and I had some serious problems saying that for some reason. I kept running the words together. Since she doesn't have the way to open up a treasure chest, what I could do is purchase the key for 1, and that way if she comes across a treasure chest, she'll be able to open it without having to rely on the warrior's ability to do that. He has an ability card that makes him do that. So this is 3, so this is going to spend all of my coins for the wizard. So now that we're done with that, we can go back and let's get everything set up here, and we can start the scenario. Now for this scenario, the goal is where I'm playing cooperatively. I'm not playing oh, I got to put this over here because I got to hold a shield in my left hand, and my right hand goes an axe. Okay. The goal is to leave the dungeon with 10 gold or 10 Farnsworth coins. That's our that is our goal for this, and that includes. Let me see. That includes items that are being carried, equipped, or not equipped. So as you can see here, the things have a value of like 1, 2, 3. I think that means that these actually count towards the goal of what you have. So I'll have to look that up, or maybe it's what their resale value is. I'll have to look that up. I'll have several breaks here in the video, so I'll be able to find that out quite quickly. So we know that these have all been spent, so these are going to go back to the regular store cash or bank cash or whatever you want to call it. And then we're ready to pretty much continue on, and so that now that the items have been purchased, we can start with the hero, the warrior hero first, and he's going to decide where he wants to go. So my warrior is going to take his first action, and the only action he can take is moving out and exploring the dungeon. Remember that when we did the merchant, the first time we purchased from the merchant at the beginning of the scenario, it does not use any of our action points. He has 3 action points, so he is going to use 1 action point to explore to the west. We're going to draw 1 dungeon tile, which is 16. We're going to align that blue arrow with the direction that we're traveling in. And he is going to move into this room. This is 16. So unfortunately, this was not a great one. Floor covered in mist. So we need to draw a mist token here. That's what we have in the room. And draw our first risk card. Alright, so we have a surprise event. As you enter the mist there, an uneasy silence. Without warning, you are attacked. We see the first thing here is draw 2 times the number of heroes in the dungeon. That's how many enemies we're going to draw. So we have 2 heroes in the dungeon, and we're going to multiply that times 2, so we're going to be drawing 4 enemies total. The next thing we see here is it says hero cannot subtract AP for 2 turns, and this is our our timer for that that we're gonna have to track. And we know we have to read and draw the enemies, which is going to be 2 times the number of heroes. So in all, we're going to be shelling out 4 enemies that are going to be engaged with the warrior. It says hero cannot subtract AP for 2 turns, and it gives us an event length timer here. What this means, and it's something I need to touch on a little bit because I didn't really explain it during the my first video that talked about the components and everything, is when we do an attack, of course the first thing we do is we take our hit chance, and we first need to see if there's any enemies on the board that have a modifier that modify our hit chance. Most of the time they won't, or I should say that some of the enemies will not have a modifier for our hit chance, which means if there's no modifier on that, we have to roll that number or lower than that number. So for instance, the warrior's at 13, I have to roll between a 1 and 13 just in order to hit. Now if they have a modifier, it will probably lessen the chances that I will hit it. And so then after the hit chance goes, and you're successful in that, you take your power and you subtract it against their defense, and then whatever the remainder is how much damage you've done to them. Now, when the enemy is attacking you, you have the chance to then use the amount of AP that you have and subtract that against their hit chance. So you're in effect making it harder for them to hit you. So for example, if a skeleton had a hit chance of 15, we would take our AP 3 and subtract that against their 15, which then would give them a hit chance of a 1 through 12 instead of a 1 through 15. So it's making it a lot more difficult for them to hit. So in case of this card, we're actually, since we're kind of surprised by this, we're not going to be allowed to subtract our AP for 2 turns, which means they're going to get their full effect when they're trying to hit us. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and draw our enemies and go ahead and set that up like we normally would. All right, so we're going to have 4 enemies. And draw from the bottom here. First one is a skeleton archer, and we're going to set up our first row right here. Second enemy is a skeleton archer. Third enemy is a skeleton archer. Okay, so we have 3 of those. This is going to fill up our row 1 because you cannot have any more than 3 enemies. So we go ahead and start our second row here, and our final one is a skeleton skirmisher. Okay, I'll actually move that over a little bit. I'd like to keep this card here next to it just as a reminder, so we can make sure, because we have something to track there, so I want to make sure I don't forget that. So I'm going to set those there, and I forgot to mention, so at the very bottom here, it says draw rewards based on enemy rows. Okay, what that means is by standard rules, for every row of enemies you have, they get their own reward card. Okay, so we're going to take our reward card deck here, and please forgive my my backs for these rewards. I didn't have enough to print on the backs of those, so in order to make it pretty, I did just one place card, and I'll put that there just to make it a little prettier. So what we have now is we have our constructed enemy deck, or enemies here that are engaged with the warrior. The first thing I'm going to do is we still have 2 action points left because we only took 1 to enter the room here, and the mist was an automatic recovery. Did not take any of our action points, and only took action points to move into the room. So we still have 2 left, but the first thing I'm going to do is call upon my Intimidating Presence card. Now, what this is this is half the enemies rounded down with power less than or equal to the number based on the level flee. Okay, so we're looking at level 1, and the number based on that is 4. So we're looking with enemies that we first encounter. It says this ability applies when enemies first encounter this hero. So enemies that first encounter us that have a level 4 or less of on their power level will flee. So let's go ahead and see what we got. And I'll zoom in a little bit so y'all can see what I'm referring to. Hopefully you guys can see that. Some of those numbers may not make it up on the chart there. All right, so we have our Skeleton Skirmisher, which has a power level of 5. And then all of our archers here, they all have a power level 4. All right, so per the card, Intimidating Presence, what we're going to be doing is taking half of those enemies that have a power level 4 or lower and rounding them down. So if we take our 3 enemies and round them down, that's going to be 1.5. And then, well, yeah, half the enemies is 1.5. Round down, that's 1. So one of these enemies is going to be fleeing. All right, so we're just going to take off one of these enemies here, the Skeleton Archer. He is gone. If you look at the bottom of the card here, it says gain experience for every enemy that... 1 experience point for every enemy that flees. Okay, so we know we've had 1 enemy flee, so we're going to go ahead and move this up 1 experience. All right, none of the other ones are going to flee because of that we can only use this once per encounter, once that the enemies encounter this hero. So the Intimidating Presence is gone, but notice how we have an open space here. Okay, when the space opens up, the second row or whatever enemies are above that can have a chance to move into and fill in this open spot. We only have 1 enemy up top here, so he is free to go into this slot right here. Okay, there's another situations that we haven't gotten into yet about where enemies can be trapped based on their position if there were more filling in around, but that's a situation that we'll come up to later. All right, the first thing I'm going to do before we do any attacking is I'm going to go ahead and mark my event length here. So this will be two rounds that this is going to go into effect for, so when I cannot subtract my AP. All right, but first I still have 2 action points left, and so what I want to do is find another card that I want to use. Okay, here it is. It's called Into the Fray. And Into the Fray is going to cost me 2 action points. So what this is, it says attack adjacent targets with added power based on level. So the first thing we're going to get is a hit chance of +2 on the targets that we're going to be attacking. The next thing we're going to get is a power level of +2. Since we're still level 1, we're going to get a power level of +2. So we're going to be hitting them with a higher hit chance, which is good, and then be doing possibly a little bit more damage to them with that +2. Now our AP meter here says this is only going to last for one round, okay? And then we're going to gain experience, 1 experience points for each attack that hits. Okay, so I'll set that here. Since we're going and activating it for 2 action points, this is the only time we're going to be able to use that card. And we're going to probably focus in on 2 targets that are adjacent to each other that would be beneficial to hit. Now, if I leave the Skeleton Archers out there, they combine the power of all Skeleton Archers to deliver a singular attack. That would kind of hurt a little bit, so what I would like to do is possibly take out one of the Archers and also the Skeleton Skirmisher, because this one hits a little bit harder and does poison. So he's going to be my first target that I'm going to go after, and then I'll be able to, with this card here, since I can attack adjacent targets, he'll be my second target. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll for the Skeleton Skirmisher. and I'm rolling against the hit chance of 13. He does not have any modifiers on his hit chance right here on this white dice, so that means that I'm going to be hitting with my full 13. Alright, so I just need to roll 1 through 13. Alright, I get an 11 on that, so my hit chance was successful. The next thing I do is I look at my power level. Actually, my hit chance on that would have been +2 on the attack, so I really would have been able to hit with a hit chance of 15. Still, again, way under that, so the attack was successful. Now, this will be a power 5, my base power 5, plus my two-handed axe is a power of 2. That's already 7 right here, but I get a modified +2 on the power level, so that's 9 against their shield of, this one has a shield of 3, so that one is 6 damage, this one's 3 damage, or has only 3 life, so this one's already dead. I'm attacking an adjacent target, maybe just kind of doing like a sweeping motion, is the way I see that. So the attack was successful. It doesn't say I had to roll for each attack, so I'm assuming that I still use my original roll to go ahead and do damage to this one. This one has a hit chance of 15. No, I'm sorry. He has a -1 on the hit chance. So my hit chance of 15 now becomes a 14. But again, I'm still under that, so he takes the hit. Now my power level again is 9 against his shield of 3. Brings in 6 damage. This one has only 3 life, so this one is also gone. Now I hit both the this one says gain 1 experience point for each attack that hits. Okay, so that was 2 hits. So 1, 2, I've got 3 experience on my chart for that. And I only have 1 skeleton archer left. But the card used, since this one is all done now, was 2 action points that used all of my available action points. So now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead and go into the enemy's turn. So he's going to get his turn to attack me. Okay, his hit chance is 15. Normally, without this card here, I would subtract his 15 from my 3, which would give him a hit chance of 12, but I'm not going to be able to do that since it's a surprise attack, and the AP is, or his hit chance is going to stay at 15, and I won't be able to do anything about that. So let's go ahead and roll it. Oh, shucks. All right, so 15 is what we rolled. So his attack was successful. Actually, it was not successful. I have Shield of Faith down here. I forgot about that. Hit chance is -1. This doesn't have anything to do with taking my AP and subtracting it against his hit chance. This is my shield. So this one is helping me out a little more. So this hit chance, being a -1, takes his down to a 14. He would have had to roll a 14 in order for him to hit me. He did not, so his attack was not successful. Alright, so that ends the turn for my warrior, and then now we can move on to the wizard's turn. In all honesty, I could have the wizard come in here with me and help me with one of these guys, or try to take one of them off and engage with that, but I think with my warrior, he's going to do is he's going to give a little nod over to the wizard and says, you know, I got this, I need the experience, so go on and try to explore the dungeon and get the gold coins that we need. Alright, so she is going to opt to use one of her 4 action points to go ahead and she's not going to explore, she's going to use one of her powers, and it is called Firelight. It's probably one of the reasons I chose this character. Which is reveal undiscovered rooms based on caster's level. This ability reveals dungeon tile and what it contains. Firelight travels straight and is stopped by walls. Okay, so our level is 1, so we can only reveal up to 1 room ahead of us. Okay, so if it's a floor covered in mist, draw a mist event card. Use a room marker, pair to mark tile and mist card. Draw enemies. Alright, so we basically set those aside, but we won't be stepping into the room if it is a mist marker. Alright, so she is going to explore to the north with the fireball. She's not actually moving in there. Okay. So we have a 1. A 1 through 6 is a treasure chest. Okay, so we're going to put that right there. All right. She still has 3 action points left. So she's going to use her second one. She's going to use Firelight again. And she's going to reveal this room here. Now, normally, guys, I want to say that if we were playing a normal game with all the rules, we would be drawing one boss event card every time we use this. But since we're not using boss event cards, we're a little more free to kind of move around. I guess I kind of look at it as maybe this dungeon has been well looted and there's no boss that inhabits it, so we're just kind of scrounging around and seeing what we can find. Okay, so we're going to use Firelight again for her second action point, and we're going to explore the east here. See what's there. Okay, we have a 4, and our little blue arrow is right there, so we're going to line that up right there. And again, 1 through 6 is a treasure chest. So we have 2 treasure chests. So now what we're going to do is we need to find out. I have 2 action points left, so that's enough to get me into one of these rooms here and explore. I'll probably do this one because, as you can see here, there's no exits on this tile number 4. There's no doorways for me to explore, so this one is a dead end. So we use action point 3 to go in there, and then our final action point to open the chest up. Now, she's got a key, so she's going to be using this key, and it's discarded after use, so this one basically goes back into the general store discard pile that I kind of put over here to the side. Alright, so she's used her last action point to open this chest up, so we'll see what it has in store for us. So we go to our risk deck, which is the treasure chests, and we get a gold. Which is worth 1 Farnsworth coin once we sell that back to the merchant. So we're going to put that in the wizard's inventory space, and this will be something she's carrying. I might have mentioned it, or I think I might have mentioned it, but each character can carry up to their power level plus 1, that many items. So, like for instance, the warrior can carry, he has a power 5, he can carry 6 items. It's power plus 1. And those don't include equipped items. It doesn't include pocket items, things that are labeled pocket item on a card. It's only the things that you have, like just equipment that you're carrying with you out there. So as far as the wizard goes, she can carry 4 items because of her power 3, and she's got gold, so she can carry 3 more items. Okay, so we're finished up with the wizard. She's all done. We're finished up with the warrior, so we're going to roll again on we're going to roll for the next round of play here. And also, too, again, we skipped the boss events, so even though my warrior did combat and he did moving, we're not drawing any boss event cards or dealing with the dungeon bosses. So these right here is negated. Same thing with the wizard and her actions. We're just not using any of those. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and roll. Red dice is warrior, green dice is the wizard. Warrior got a 17, and the wizard got a 20. So we're going to have the warrior activate first. The only thing we really need to do is try to get this knocked out here, and we'll go ahead and mark this one as the second event length, so we still cannot use our AP to subtract their attacks, but hopefully I can kill him before he's had any chance to attack. I feel pretty confident that I can get him, so I won't have to really use a high level card here. Again, we can't use the intimidating presence because that's only on encounter, like when you first encounter him. So I'm just gonna chance it that I'll be able to get this in my normal attacks, and then we're gonna roll and see what we get. So first action is going to be to try to hit him, and remember I have a hit chance of 13, and he's got a -1, so on the hit chance for me, so that brings it down to a 12. So I got to roll a 1 through 12. Alright, first one is an 18. That was a failure. Okay, second one, I'll have to use my second action point here for an attack. Remember, we need a 1 through 12. Unfortunately, I got a 19. Wow. Alright, I'm rolling very terribly. All right, final one is my third action point. Please be a low roll, 1 through 12. Oh my god. All right, so a 1 is what we got, which clearly is a low roll, enough to get through to him. The hit chance, so it was good. So now we take our power. I have a power of 7 against his defense of 3. That leaves 4 damage left over, and it is going to do more than enough to kill him because they only had 3 life. All right, so that is done. We get an experience for the hit on the skeleton archer, and this one is done. That's going to finish out my turn. I guess with this one, just go back into a discard. That's going to finish my turn on the warrior, so now we can proceed on to the wizard's turn. All right, so one thing I wanted to mention real quick, I didn't even touch on it. So when the warrior finished killing the archers, the rewards are still here waiting to be picked up. However, it takes action points to be able to pick those up, and I expended all mine fighting, so I won't renew those action points until the next round, which does kind of leave it open if you were playing a regular game, maybe being a little competitive, and I spent all my action points killing, and these reward drops, and I didn't have anything left to pick them up. Well, then I would just, another character could just basically run in the room, spend their action points, and pick those up during their turn. However, in the spirit of playing completely cooperative, my wizard is going to ignore those items, and she is going to move on her way during her turn and leave those there for the warrior to pick up when it becomes his turn. So, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the wizard's turn now. She cannot open up any more chests because she does not have any keys, nor does she have the bash chest skill that the warrior has. So she's just going to have to worry about moving through and doing some more exploring. So we'll use 1 action point to move here and another to move into tile 16. So she's got 2 more left. She'll go ahead and use Firelight again to explore the north passage here. Okay, we line up the arrow. This is tile number 10. So that's going to give us a pile of debris. All right. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. She can move in here, but she's not going to be able to explore next round, but I want her to keep moving through as much as she can. Okay, so she's done. There's really not much else we can do, so we need to go ahead and roll for round number 3. See who's going to go first. All right, our warrior got a 6, and wizard got a 16. She's not rolling really well. So warrior's going to go first. He is going to move 1 to the start tile, and then 2 to move in here to tile number 1, and then he is going to use his bash chest for 1 action point, and this is going to open a chest with brute force. Draw the number of boss event cards based on level. Well, there is no boss event cards in this one, so it's pretty much a free action for us to do. Down here we gain 1 experience point for this action. Okay, so he is now at 5 experience points, and he gets to open the chest here and see what we got. More gold. Alright, so this one's actually worth 2. So that is going to go into his inventory space. I'll just put that right there. Oh, you know what he did? He totally left the... I got to mark that. Alright, so... Alright, let me go... I got A here. And if I can find my other A piece, I have to mark that spot where all the other rewards have been dropped. Alright, so we'll do that. We'll mark that as A. Those rewards. I totally forgot to do that. I can't believe I did that. Alright, so the warrior's turn is done, and it is now my wizard's turn. I will go ahead and examine this pile of debris and see what we have. Alright, so I'll draw from the risk. Now it's just one action point to search that debris pile. So we draw our card. And here we go. As you filter through the debris, you see a bright colored serpent. It hisses at you, bites your hand, and slithers off quickly before you can react. Alright, this is AP +2, and defense is... man, I'm having a hard time reading that. Hold on. I believe that is a -1. I want to say it. I could go look at that card on the digital version. Like I said, my printing skills aren't that great. So this is going to last for 3 turns, and so we're going to need to go ahead and mark that. I need to place that close by, wherever it can be here. So this is the first turn that we are at. Well, we have lower amount of defense, but we do have 2 additional action points now, so that's kind of a plus, I guess. Well, we didn't get anything for that, no gold, but we did get some more action points. Alright, so first one was to do that pile of debris. So for this one, since I have +2 action points, that means I had a total of 6 to start with, and I've used 1, so I now have 5. So we should do some exploring. Alright, I can't go east from this tile because there's no door space on this connecting tile. So this is like a blocked passage, or maybe like a stone wall or something like that. So my only available options to explore would be north and west here. So for my second action point, let's go ahead and explore north. Okay, we have an 8-2. So we're going to put that on the north passageway. Now 8-2 is not really marked with anything on here. So that is going to be just, I guess, the pile of debris. It's going to be on 8. Alright, so we're going to drop that here. Third action point, let's go ahead and explore the west chamber. Okay, looks like okay, here's 7. Alright, let's line up that blue arrow. 7 is another pile of debris. Okay, so she still has, let's see, 1 to search, 2, 3. She's got 3 action points left. She could go in and search one of those and see what she's going to find. She does have negative defense, so I'm hoping I don't draw any enemy cards. Alright, so 1 action to move in here, 1 to search this pile of debris. See what we get. We get a poison scroll. Okay, so this adds poison damage to the hero's regular attacks for the next 2 turns. But another thing we notice is that this has a cost symbol on it. This is what the merchant will pay us for any rewards that we find down in the dungeon. He'll pay us 100% the cost of that item. Now the only things he won't pay us 100% on are items that we buy from him from the store. They only pay us 50% of that cost, and it is rounded up. However, if an item costs 1 gold coin from the store, he will not reimburse you for any of that. Okay, so that right now that stands. She's got basically 2 items here worth 2 gold coins. She does have her robe that if she sold back, she would be able to get 1 gold coin. So really, she's got 3 gold coins right now. So she's doing much better than the warrior has, who just left all of his stuff back where he couldn't pick it up. So I think she's got 1 more action point left. Because she had 6. So this one was her first one to explore, second, third to explore, fourth to move in here, fifth to explore that one. Okay, and then she's got 1 more left. So she is going to firelight this chamber here to the west. Okay, she pulls 15. 15 looks to be a body. Okay, our first body that we've come across. And she is out of actions, and her turn is all the way done now. So we're going to go ahead and roll for the new round, see who's going to go first. All right, 17 for the warrior and 5 for the wizard. So she is going to be starting first. All right, so first action point is, let's light up this north corridor here. Okay, we get a 6. So 6 is another treasure chest. Treasure chest. Okay. Second action point, we'll go ahead and light up this corridor. It's a 13. All right, 13 is another body. Okay, so we're coming across a few more dead bodies there. All right, so she's got 4 action points left. She can't do anything about the treasure chest up top. On 6, she could either go east or west and explore that body, which is actually the warrior can go straight up there now because we have a connecting room. Now that she's explored it, we know that there's a connecting room to go into that direction there. So I may leave that one for the warrior, and those rewards are still waiting for me, dropped over there, so that's fine. So let's go ahead and move the wizard over here. See, that took up 2 action points to do that. She got 4. Okay, so that'll be a third one, fourth one to examine the body here. So we'll see what we got. As you search the body, it vanishes into a puff of fumes. You begin coughing. Take 2 health damage plus poison damage if weak to poison. Okay. Alright. 2 damage plus poison if we're weak to poison. So that'll be 4 total if I'm weak. Alright, yeah, I'm weak to poison. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So she's down at 11 for that little stunt. Okay, so that did not work out in my favor. And this one, number 15, is a dead-end chamber. We can't go anywhere because it's blocked by 7 here. There's no door icon. And there are no other ones around the room. So she doesn't have any choice but to move out. Okay, so exploring. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then let's say 6 to move into there. She's going to explore some further chambers out this way on her next turn. All right, 17, warrior's going to go now. He is going to move up 1, and he is going to be the one to examine that dead body. Let's see what we have. Okay, we have a health potion, and that is plus 5 health, discard after use, but the merchant will pay us 1 for that one. So we now have 1 item we're carrying with the warrior. All right, 2 action points left on him. Let's move him in this direction to the treasure chest. So 1, 2. That's as far as he can get. He can't use the bash chest because he's not. He doesn't have any more action points left. And that's going to end the round. And then we move to the next one. I'll mark that the end. No, it's not the end yet. That was the second turn with this card there. Okay, we got a 10 with the wizard and a 16 with our warrior. So wizard's going to go first. She's going to pop maybe this room here in north with her firelight. Guess we already know what tile it's going to be. It's 12. Okay, and for 12, that is another body. They are all over the place. Okay, second action point. I'll go ahead and uncover this area here. 8. 8 is a pile of debris. All right. So she's going to have to move in order to do something else. But what I'll have her do is for her third action point, go here. Fourth action point will be to look and see what that pile of debris is. Scroll of Power. Well, that's not bad. Worth 4. That gives us a power plus 4 and 4 additional action points. All heroes in this room can use it. That's really nice that you track the AP that you've used and the event length timer. That's what the EL stand for. I think it was event length. Okay, so she's got, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7 gold built up, or like a potential to have gold coins. She's carrying 3 items right now, and she can only carry 1 additional item. So she needs to be careful. All right, this one is used up and gone. So that was 4th action point. I still have 2 action points left. Let's use the 5th one to explore this chamber with Firelight. Let's see what we got. Okay, this is 16-2. All right, we don't have any 2s on this card, so I'm just going to say it's a floor covered in mist. So we'll go ahead and see what that card is. Okay, this one says you are covered in mist and it begins to ooze up your body. It wraps around your neck and begins to choke you. You feel the life draining from you. -3 health. Okay, so we can put one of our tokens that we have, our -3 health tokens, and we place it in that chamber there. So if anyone goes into that chamber, we know that they're going to suffer from -3 health. And a hero loses 3 health for every turn that remain on this tile. Alright, so I'll leave this one close by just so we can have a good idea of what that is there for. Alright, next is, I'm going to go ahead and reveal this room for my last action point. Okay, and that one is a 19. Okay, that's another floor covered in mist. Okay. And for that, we get our risk deck back out. It says you enter the mist and it flows all around you. You hear a loud noise behind you. You turn to see enemies forming behind you. How did they get there? Draw the number of enemies, or draw heroes plus 2 enemies. Okay, so that's 4 enemies. Alright, so what we're going to do is draw our 4 enemies. 1, and I'm not going to reveal them. This down here. Let's see. This will set it to side 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to place a marker on that. Whichever one I can find first. Look, it's going to be F. Alright, so F are the enemies in that room. So we're going to pretty much not worry about these 2 rooms right here. I think they're going to be off limits. That's going to finish out all of her action points. She doesn't have anything left. So it's then going to go to the warrior. Warrior's first going to use the bash chest. So he's going to open that for 1 action point. And see what we get. Okay. We get gold worth 3. Okay. So now, with all of the items that the warrior has, he's got 4, 5 gold. Oh, I'm sorry, he's got this gold here too. Looks like he's got 5, 6, 7 worth of gold coins. Okay, so he still needs a little bit more, which probably he needs to make his way back over here to see what those rewards are. Okay, so that was 1 action point that he used to get that. Let's go find out what those rewards are down there. So action point 2 and then 3 to get here, because those were all connecting rooms. And that's going to finish out the turn. So we're going to go ahead and roll again for our next one. See who's going to activate. 20 for the wizard, 2 for the warrior. So he's going to go first. He is going to move down 1. And then go ahead and use 2 action points to pick up the 2 items that were in this room here. Hoping we can carry all that. That should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, I should be able to carry that. Okay, we have the rewards in this room were a staff for 5 and a knife of backstab for 2. Okay, so the amount of gold that he has right now is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, that's more than enough. Let's see, even with selling this one back, he's got 14 gold. And she has, let's see, the wizard has, that's 4 more than he needs. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so we have plenty of gold that we need right now. So really, this mission's done for us. All we need to do is move ourselves back with our action points to get back to the merchant and sell our equipment and hand off or trade some items for us to be able to do that. Now, I think that trading or selling should be marked in here. Let me check and see real quick. Trade items is 1 action point. All right. So we know it's going to only take 1 action point to do that. So we've already used up all of our action points to get us to here. We only need 1 to move in here, but we can't do that till next turn. She's going to use her last time that she can use this is to get the... Oh, I think this one may not be in effect anymore. I can't remember if I didn't mark that last time. If I didn't, let's only use 4 action points. So we use 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to leave her there, and we're going to just do some trading next turn. So we're going to see whose it is. And this one is definitely gone, by the way. And so Wizard's going to be second, Warrior's going to be first. Warrior's going to move in here for 1 action point. Second action point, he's going to trade. She needs 3 gold, or she needs something worth 3, I believe. So let's see, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And then he should have enough gold left over. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. All right, so 1 to move in here, 1 to trade. He's only got 1 left. He can't interact with the merchant because interacting with the merchant is 2 action points, so he's going to have to wait till next round. She has enough to interact with the merchant to trade in her items here. The gold, the scroll of power, the other gold, and the scroll, the poison scroll, and her robe to get her 10 coins that she needs. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, it's really not a whole lot of reason. I'm just for prosterity's sake doing it all correctly. So we roll for our new round. And Warrior's going to go first with 11, Wizard 13, and he's going to trade in his items that he has, the staff, the backstab, the gold, and the health potion, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He gets his 10 coins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Money, money, money. All right, so now our scenario should be completed, which reads, each hero must arrive at a starter tile with 10 coins. This includes all carried items equipped or not equipped. All right. The quest gold coins looks to be finished. Not bad. We did a little bit of experience on this one, but didn't get enough to level up or anything like that. But of course, a lot of the stuff we weren't using, we weren't drawing any boss event cards when we were moving through or using our skills. So not a whole lot of peril going on in this one. It was just kind of seeing how much we could do without getting into any trouble, which there really wasn't much trouble at all getting through that. So, all right, so this one has been completed. So my next one, hopefully I'll cover a scenario that deals with all the elements of the game, which basically is going to be including the boss events and the dungeon bosses in there. And might be a little more exciting. So hopefully you stick around, and any questions that I brought up during this one, hopefully I tried to get those questions answered and then relay those back to the channel, and maybe put them in the comment section, or maybe in my next video I'll say what I found. But anyway, so I hope you guys stick around. I hope you guys enjoyed and join me for my next one. And like I said, we'll take on a scenario that brings in the bosses, the dungeon bosses, and kind of see how that plays out. So we'll see you guys next time.